Hello again. Next chapter. Does that do better if I'm not in it? Allowing. Quote, abandoning who people think you are and becoming who you really are is a simple concept, but sometimes it is very hard to do. End quote. Larry Winget. If you don't know Larry Winget, look him up. He's fabulous. Brilliant man. With everything falling into place, life was wonderful. Finances were not so hot, but freedom does have its price, and it's worth every single penny. This was an amazing time for me. I had a reawakening of my spirit and a newfound reconnection to my God source. I had noticed that my intuitive abilities were getting stronger again. I had first noticed them resurfacing when I was in massage school. Over the years, the energy and my ability to trust my intuition grew. It's all about trust. It was always great, especially in the earlier years when a client would confirm what I was picking up from their energy field and their body. Most of the time, early on, I would pick up information on the person I was working on, but I would not say anything. Then, inevitably, the person would just open up and share their stories. And I would know the outcome of those stories. Later, I would ask questions that would be somewhat generic pertaining to their physical issues, and they would confirm my thoughts once again. One memorable instance was when I was working on a gal with some unusual upper back issues. As I was getting in there, she stated that she could not figure out why her back was so bad. She said she was on vacation, so she was not stressed and thought her back should not be in such bad shape. I had a visual of her picking up a couch, lifting one end and moving it around by herself. Then I saw her moving other furniture, like she was rearranging her living room. So I said to her, "Your back feels like you've been moving furniture around. Have you been rearranging your living room?" I said it in a joking way, so as not to sound too strange. She jumped, lifting her head up and looking at me. She'd been prone, face down in the face cradle. Her eyes wide open. She said, "Oh my God, are you psychic or something?" I kind of froze. Busted. She seemed nervous about the idea of me knowing too much. So I just told her it was because of the way the muscles were locked up and the positioning of some of her physical issues. After all, I'd been doing massage for many years. Whew. She then proceeded to tell me, "That is so weird that you said that, because that's what I do. That's my job." I tell her she looks awful delicate to be a professional mover. She goes on to tell me that her family owns a furniture store and her job was setting up the scenes to decorate areas and rearrange furniture to make sections of the store look like a living room or bedroom or whatever. She said sometimes a sibling would help, but the week before her vacation, she was redoing a living room scene by herself, lifting a couch at one end and moving it around that way. Confirmation. I'm not crazy. Well, over the years, it was happening more and more. I decided to start taking some classes to help harness or control these abilities, or to at least be in control of them somehow. I took several classes, but none resonated like those taught by my first intuitive mentor. I read every book I could get my hands on related to psychic abilities, psychic experiences, metaphysics, paranormal stuff, spirit visitation, and on and on. I learned a lot from the books. At least, they really helped me explain some of my experiences throughout my life, but nothing completed the energy of like-minded folks getting together, sharing their stories and experiences. Again, everybody has it. Everybody. We're born with this and more that I think will be shown soon. Carol Nicholson is an incredibly gifted psychic medium and an all-around amazing woman. One of my first classes was a psychic development class she was teaching. We clicked right away, or at least I did with her. She is wonderful. She was not only knowledgeable, but she knew how to explain things to allow them to sink in and make sense and relate to the real world situations. Her classes were all about self-development and everyday application of our God-given gifts. She has a wonderful sense of humor and an amazing sense of self. Her stories and examples are always entertaining and pertinent to the information being taught. I adored her. Every time I saw that she was teaching an interesting sounding class, I would try to make it. I even signed up for a couple classes that said someone else would teach them, and I would walk in and there would be Carol. Yay. I was always pleased when that happened. After a few years of training in psychic intuitive realms, the spirit world began calling me. I searched for mediumship classes and was excited to find one close by. Who was teaching it? My dear friend Carol. At that time, I had not seen her in a couple of years. I thought to myself, she is totally going to think I'm stalking her. Like I said in the beginning. In fact, years later, when I was searching for a web designer for my new business website, I decided to go with the company that built the Friend site. I love the company's site and portfolio of work. I immediately contacted them and corresponded with the gal for a couple of weeks. The energy on the phone and even through the emails was great. There was a sense of familiarity. I even mentioned that to her on the phone. So funny. I finally went back to the company site and clicked on the About Me page. I'm reading the gal's story and I'm thinking, okay, this woman's into metaphysics. That's why her energy is so great and familiar. Then I get to the bottom and there's a picture. It was Carol again. I swear I was not stalking her. Yeah. Again, talking to her on the phone, it didn't click because we were just using in the classes and things. It was just a first name thing. So, yeah, pretty funny. The mediumship training was amazing and awakening. This was my angelic connection building with the Angel Wings adventure at that time. Was more proof. Sorry. Brain fart. This with my angelic connections building with the Angel Wings adventure at that time was more proof to me that this stuff was for real. I was also still reading as much as I could. I still do and can never learn too much, ever. And I was beginning to see that I developed certain aspects. I would question it again. I have always and always will consider myself a realist first. I always tell people I am open to everything, but I'm skeptical, a healthy skeptic as well. I love when science proves metaphysical facts, but I also know that some things will never be proven scientifically. And that does not mean they are not real. In fact, they're probably more real. Things were falling into place. Doors were opening for me. The path was being cleared for me and shown to me. I now knew what I needed to do. Now that I was doing my own thing, I felt comfortable incorporating readings into my work. I was kind of just throwing out information to people as I had them on the table. Sometimes still, I was very careful how I worded the information. Others that I felt were more open, I gave a bit more. However, I still waited for them to give me permission to delve into their lives. I never really advertised my readings. It was stuffed way down on my website, but the information is pretty extensive, and most people never get to that section, unless it's meant to be. One day, about 6 months after I opened my business, a woman walked in and asked if I do psychic readings. She said she had seen my ad in the phone book. Nothing in the ad about that. I did not want to scare folks. I did not want to scare folks away. I asked if she saw my website, and she had not. So I told her I absolutely did do readings, but I did not advertise it. She just hoped, or did she know? This was my first official professional reading. And she still comes in sometimes. Next.